Hey, welcome to another edition of Breaking Protocol from the Razzle Dazzle Show, our ongoing miniseries where we break down key updates and design questions straight from the development of Shade Protocol. These episodes are built around the game's community engagement series Devs Ask You, or DAUs, where Kendall and the team not only show us changing, but invite fans to shape the journey with them. Tema, a frozen graveyard of civilizations long extinguished, a place where even hope cracks like glass under the weight of memory. In this episode, we're breaking down what makes Tema more than just a snow level, but a biome built on history, decay, melancholy, and the consequences of technology. Be sure to follow us and Little Legendary on our socials and YouTube channel, and be sure to join the Shade Protocol Discord server to follow new DAUs, vote in polls, and share your voice directly with the dev team. Links to everything will be in the description down below, and with all that being said, it's Razzle Dazzle time! Clearly, as like you guys have been saying, you don't want to just spoon feed all the information to the players. You don't want to just have logs, history logs, for the players to find as collectibles, like I don't know, Claire Obscure. But you really want to focus on show, don't tell. And I'm assuming
we might tell some. I don't
yeah,
want to make
sure.
people for sure there might be like some computer somewhere where you see some log. We want to, we definitely want a little bit of that, but hopefully it's like light enough that, I think it's really important for us as a team to not be so self-important to think that we need a room where you have an
Yeah.
eternal amount of scrolls and you just have to read all of my pages. You have to this is the way you're going to learn my game. We should be able to get you educated. I wouldn't say educated. That's actually the wrong word. Informed in a very concise and clear way. And there are games that have done this masterfully that we can learn from. That they still have like little logs and little things for you to find. But it shouldn't be like, oh, like your reward for making it to the secret room in Tema. It's like a 10-page manifesto.
Here's all
it's
the
not,
answers to all the questions about this area.
exactly. So we got to figure it out. It's a challenge, but we will probably have a happy medium in a place where we'll have enough things to find. As of today, as of this recording, we don't really have like items, equipables, or stuff like that. It's not a design choice we've made yet. So because of that, like we can't really rely on item descriptions because we don't have them.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then that means we need to show you in the world, which is a great constraint. But it'd be really good to have you find a headband and it tells you, oh, there was a very stealthy, snake that wear this to have infinite ammo. It'd be great to have that, easy way to communicate some stuff. But if we end up not having that, we have to rely on the world, and it'll mean that we have to shorten the dialogue, and we have to give you more by just showing, which is a great problem to have, but it's incredibly expensive. So we'll see if we can do it for sure. But we're gonna try. We're gonna try for sure.
Right. Now, more of a story question, and answer it however you can without spoiling, of course. Humanity fled here as a last refuge. Can you shine any light to why or what caused this? Why Tema specifically? Or is it just you just want us to find out?
Oh man. Let's see. Um. Okay.
Because I understand this has
you.
happened a long time ago, and I can't assume that millennia ago, or however many years ago this happened, Tema might have been a different type of location, maybe not as harsh and snowy.
I think that's a fair assumption.
Okay.
I'll frame it that way. Like I think that's a fair assumption that things were what they were. Of course, this remains the North, right?
Right.
So it's I don't imagine that we are I don't imagine that this wasn't like a snowy area right before, something like that. Maybe there's some draft that I have of how the story plays out and to end, and that where I'm changing like 1% direction in order to fit the rest of the game. That's not an uncommon thing that you do in order to make games work. But the lore So what happened in Tema happened a long time ago. I could say that because I've said it in the
Mm-hmm.
AU. And the the things that humanity endured here are definitely unrelated. Oh man, they are they're not because of the Shade Protocol. That's not how that went down. It's the only thing I could say that I feel comfortable spoiling.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that it's unrelated to the Shade Protocol. I know I'm saying those two things back to back, but like what happened in Tema is not specifically like and I think that already shows in the designs of the enemies and everything that we showed. Like this wasn't like the protocol went and did this, right? I think like that's that would make the story too predictable and basic. But you know this just from looking at the enemies, just from looking at everything that's going on, you'll figure out that there's more to what happened here. Um, but I would say this is a good. This is definitely a um, it's a showcase of the inability of humanity, at least in general, the inability of humanity to thrive without some amount of risk, right? Some consequences. So this is what this land is supposed to represent. But yes, I mean, before everything happened, um, was it as harsh? I think it's a fair thing to say that it was always the North. So that's the best way as I can explain it. But people live in Antarctica, right? And, I hope. But you get where I'm coming from. Like there is
Right.
this harsher places in the world where people live, and it's not like they are like this desolate places just because they are harsher. But definitely it wasn't what it is now. So we will get to learn a little bit more about that. But the story is I don't think people can expect, especially from what I read in the feedback on the DAU, I don't think people are anywhere near close to what happened here. Which I love that. I
Mm.
love that feeling of like, it's not like a got you kind of thing, but it is nuanced enough that people can't really imagine what happened here, and I like that because that means you'll be at least a little bit surprised. And we want that for you. We want that feeling of like, oh my god, like that's I want that feeling in the player, with enough weight to for you to remember. But yeah, I guess the best way I could answer it is like there is a before and after, of course, of Tema. Do we get to play that? I think like I could say that we get to play today's Tema, right? This is what we
Right.
get to play. But do we get to know what happened before? Um, I will leave it as a maybe because I do want to reward the players that put the time to unveil the
Of course.
story. And some things we will feed you, like, you're going to understand the shade protocol, right? At the end of the game. That's kind of part of the whole point of the game. But does that mean that you have to understand all of the lore and the background of the game? Maybe not. Maybe that's something that, if that's not for you and you're not looking for that, then you don't need to do that. But if you do want to know more about, what happened here in Tema, I would like to give you the ability to know more. And it is connected to characters that people don't expect. It is connected to. Oh man, it's wonderful. I can't really tell you, but there is some of it that is just wonderful that I think it's going to be both like um awe-inspiring and heartbreaking when you kind of get um all the pieces and how it's related to other characters and what went down here. So we'll see. We'll see in the future, but yeah, lots to unpack in Tema specifically.
Understood. Last question for the episode. Something really cool and interesting that I've noticed. First of all, visually it looks really cool. How lithium has like intertwined with the trees and stuff like that. So we got like metallic trees and stuff. Great job, Danny. I just think that looks super super cool, and I think it's very interesting for for the knowledge, for what we know about lithium, is its core purpose, I guess, like it's driven to help and make things better. That's it's a living metal, like you've mentioned before. It wants to make things better or help or whatever. How does a lithium, or I guess why is a lithium reacting this way in Tema? Is it like trying to maybe corrupt it? Maybe there's something wrong with the lands of Tema, and therefore lithium is taking matters into its own hands to trying to keep it alive. So that's why it's embedding itself within the land. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so that's like, of course, a question I cannot answer, but
Ah, okay.
I could tell you a little bit about a lithium, right? So I'm going to be really hyperbolic here, just very hyperbolic, like, and also like, none of this is literal. I am being, poetic with my answer. So just take it as I give it to you, right? So imagine for a minute that a lithium is this living metal that is like asleep. Imagine that for a moment. It's like this metal is like asleep the entire time. It's just asleep. But it's not really asleep. It's enthralled by the song that it can hear, this beautiful song of creation. And it's constantly, you know, it's just lulled by this by the song. And it can't wake from it. It's too like there's nothing. Imagine you just met the most, I don't know, the most beautiful person you could ever imagine. You can't look away. Like it's enthralling, right? So it's kind of like that. They're hearing Lithium is hearing the most primally beautiful sound that could ever be made. Nothing could beat it. So it is constantly asleep. In this, and it's more than asleep, it's enthralled. So whenever we somehow liberate a lithium from that state, right? We kind of wake it, like it's awake now. It is now, in some sort of state that it is sentient, but that doesn't mean it's like speaking to you or something like that. It doesn't have a mouth. It doesn't work like that. But it is aware, right? It's like imagine like a plant that is aware. So it's like a rock that is aware, and it knows. And if you grab this rock and you put it like on top of a toaster, it's going to merge with the toaster and make the toaster better because it's aware of what the toaster is made for. It's aware that that will make your life better and it will improve the toaster. That's what it will do. So as you go through understanding a lithium better, you will realize that the moment that you kind of disconnect a lithium from let's say there's like an entire layer of like an entire mine full of lithium, right? This huge mine. All of this would be the lithium that's pretty much all asleep. The moment that you like mine a piece of it, this piece that you take out, this core that fits in your hand, that thing is no longer part of that song, right? It's awake and it's there and it is aware, and that's how you make replicas, right? You pretty much are denying them access to the song of the universe, and you're giving them a way to talk to you and interact with the world and do this and that the other. But primally it is still the same thing. Like this thing is always this beautiful, I don't want to say loving, but it's this to me it's like this. What would be a good word for it? Is it like naive, something like that? It's just this, not whimsical, because it's not like
Innocence?
la la la. It's innocent. This is a good way. It's like, because if you take this thing and you put it, against, like I said, a toaster, it says, I can help you. Like, I will make this better because it makes your life better, and that's what
Similar
I
to the
want.
snacklets.
Yeah. Except because snacklets are pretty much we'll call it like the most primal version, the most first order of living, like the first. Well,
The
if
most
if
personified
uh,
version of a lithium. Got it.
exactly. So that's kind of what they are. They are like pretty much like somebody called this. I don't know who was it, but it's like pretty much what is it? Savage lithium, like pretty much. It's just like little savage, lithium. So it when it's broken away from the entire set of lithium together, whenever you're breaking a piece of it, it eventually like it will find a way to become something like a snacklet, right? Not necessarily, right? It could happen, but these specific things are personified of the same vibe. So they are incredibly loyal. They just want to make everything better if they can. Like they're very, 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 this is their direction. This is what they do. Lithium is this in this way in its original state. So what will happen with it is that if in some sort of way you were able to sing it a different song, right? Then you would affect lithium in a way that maybe it wasn't its original intention, right? So imagine if like it's listening to the most beautiful song in the world forever, and it's asleep and it's just enjoying it. And I don't know where you do the opposite. You give it the worst song, and it cannot escape it, and it's constantly listening to it. I'm not saying this is what happened. I am just giving you like a path of thinking, right? To consider like what would that look like, right? Then this thing maybe will tolerate it, but it's alive, and over time it would lose its mind. It would not be able to deal with it. So it will want to end it, right? It will want to end that sound. So imagine something like that. Imagine that's like a good way to kind of imagine what a lithium, when it's affected by some other force, would be. So it's not like a lithium is in some sort of way evil. Is that it doesn't want to listen to this song anymore, is the way I would frame it for now, right? So how will all that play out into Tema and the story of the game and stuff like that? I think it's fairly obvious for what people have seen that in the rest of the world, when a lithium is quote unquote corrupted by the Shade Protocol, it's something like that, right? It's listening to a different song that it's like forcing it, it's tinkering and affecting its will to make it do something it doesn't necessarily want to do, but it can't resist. Whereas what's happening in Tema might be a more primal version of that, or it might be the same thing, or it might, who knows, right? But imagine a lithium like that, like this, this comatose material that can't wake up on its own, and it's always in awe of this beautiful song. If you were to change that song, what would happen? It's an incredibly powerful material, like incredibly powerful. It can do things that humanity only dreams of doing. So what would a world full of that material look like? And what if, like, for some reason it was twisted in such a way with some almost surgical intent, which is what the Shade Protocol can do. So just know that there's so much to it. It's not enough to imagine what happened in Tema as like, oh, this is like, somebody threw like an lithium grenade, and a bunch of trees just twisted. There's something much worse, happening here. And the story will help you unravel that. But how does it affect the lithium, and why is it happening in other places, but not maybe at the same level of gravity as Tema, is part of what you'll find out, and hopefully you want to prevent, but you might not be able to. So I'll leave it at that for now.
Maybe something or someone in Tema is not playing a happy tune.
Who knows?
This has been another episode of Breaking Protocol from the Razzle Dazzle Show. Want to help what Shade Protocol becomes? Join the Shade Protocol Discord server to follow new DAUs, vote in polls, and share your voice with the dev team directly. Go follow Shade Protocol on Kickstarter, and if you like this breakdown, check out our past spotlights and interviews with Kendall right here on the Razzle Dazzle Show. Remember, the future of Emeria is still being written.